Thank you for staying with us right here on TV3. It's time for the big issue where we discuss topical issues of national concern. And today we are talking about that tragic boat accident that has got the entire nation talking. We know that the Vice President of the Republic is today leading a team, including the Transport Minister, to the area to ascertain for themselves what exactly transpired. We also know that investigations are underway to try and understand what exactly happened, even though at a very initial level, the Ghana Maritime Authority has put out some information in terms of what they have learned about this particular incident. And for those who will not be familiar or may not be familiar with all what we've been talking about since Saturday, let me walk you through what we know so far. And so it's an incident that occurred on Saturday around 1:30 p.m., according to the Ghana Maritime Authority. A small passenger boat capsized on the Volta Lake near Kete-Krachi. Casualties so far are 15, including 11 children who are aged 2 to 14, and 4 adults, that is 3 women and 1 man, and 4 other adults also survived. The cause, in terms of what we know so far, the preliminary investigations by the GMA indicated that gross overloading beyond the vessel's safe capacity. And in terms of the response by the Ghana Maritime Authority, a team has been deployed, investigative team comprising maritime safety inspectors and Navy task force, a high-level casualty investigation committee, GMA, and the Ministry of Transport that will be recommending enforcement measures, and also enhanced lakeside enforcement operation, focusing on passenger limits, life jackets, and operational permits. And so that is what we know about this incident so far. Yesterday, we heard from the Director General of the Ghana Maritime Authority, Dr. Kamaldeen Ali. We can hear from him very soon as he speaks about what they've detected beyond this initial statement that they put out yesterday in terms of what they've gathered so far and the steps they are taking to ensure that this does not happen again. Let's listen to Dr. Kamaldeen Ali.
The difference is that when a car is overloaded, the car will either break down or the car will stop to move. Unfortunately, in the case of a boat, the boat will sink. So the culture of overloading and the culture of lack of safety is something that is with us. But that is why we continue to do the education. We have detachments either from the Ghana Maritime Authority or from the Ghana Navy across most of the areas. Recently, since coming into office, a number of measures have also taken place. First of all, we are opening an office in Akosombo so that we can be very central and have the headquarters of the Inland Water Unit in Akosombo. You would have also seen in the news that we have deployed one of our boats called Matekole to Bando Toko, where we have opened an office also. Why Bando Toko? Because in that particular place, you have a weather situation where certain times you have a water currents meeting, and the water currents can cause accidents. It's an accident-prone area. That's why we have put a search and rescue boat there. That was done about 2 months ago. And also, we have actually donated quite a lot of life jackets to a number of communities also. We have conducted what is called a comprehensive mapping of most of the inland water crossing areas. Let me say that in Ghana, we have close to over 500 areas where people are crossing, in fact, up to 1,000 when it comes to the inland water areas. So what we are currently doing is that we are going to recruit a number of safety guards, and those safety guards will help enforce the law. So we almost have to create something like a water police in a way, because at the end of the day, we need to police. And if we need to police, it has to come at a cost. And unfortunately, if the people are not complying, the only thing we can do is to incur more costs by training safety guards and deploying them. Into the future, we are also looking at certification of boat operators. It is a difficult thing to do culturally, but we are looking at it. Much like everybody you must have a license to drive a car, we are looking at how we are going to put in place a certain certificate or a certain license for each boat boat operator to be able to be trained, certified, and then can have that license. So these are some of the measures that the Ministry of Transport and the Ghana Maritime Authority are putting in place over the last couple of months. And we hope that more will be done in the coming months, especially the safety guards. Currently, after mapping the coastal communities, the inland water crossing areas, we are going to recruit the safety guards, people who are from the community, but people that can also earn their respect, people that can work with the local community leaders so that they can help enforce the law. Enforcement of law is not an easy thing to do. Generally, people want to resist enforcement of law. So we hope that when we come to that point where we have the safety guards in place, people will listen to them, people will accept the safety directions that will be given to them.
That's Dr. Ali Kamaldeen, Director General of the Ghana Maritime Authority, speaking on this disturbing incident that has got all of us worried. And some of the things you heard him talk about are disturbing. I mean, there are parts of the interview where he says, currently, we don't certify those who operate these boats and canoes. And if you grew up in a water area, an area where water transport is prevalent, you see that there are young boys and men who mainly man these boats or these canoes. Very young, they are the ones who man them. Sometimes 11 years, 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, because they are born along those waterways. It's just work that they grow up learning to do and they man them. And you have more than 15, 20 people aboard it, no one wearing any life jacket or anything, and they go along with them. And a lot of the time, most of the people who are aboard cannot even swim. Even if you can swim, even when it's in the middle of the lake, far away from the edges, it's a very tall order to try and get across. And he makes the point about the fact that the boarding points across the country, more than 1,000. It says 500 initially, said about 1,000. So that is the enormity of the sector, inland transportation that we are looking at. And not having identifiable points make it very difficult. And in the course of the discussion, I'll be sharing with you some data that we have identified in terms of occurrences and the causes, and you see a common trend of what is causing some of these accidents to be happening. Let me introduce you to my guest in the studio, Nanaya Osapon, my very good friend, Nanaya Osapon. I call him the one-man support man. I don't know why I'm calling him that, but that's what I'll call him. Nanaya, it's very good to see you once again.
You're just being mischievous.
I've not seen you in a while, but we interact a lot, and you're always on hand to lend a hand of support. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It's good to have you join us this morning.
Good to see you.
Nanaya is with the Movement for Change. Also joining us in the studio is my senior colleague. Let me introduce him that way today. Dr. Josiah Koba, former principal lecturer at the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration. Doc, thank you for joining us.
Yes, Joseph, glad to be here. And congratulations.
Thank you.
Now I can call you my learned friend.
And I can call you my senior colleague.
Yes. yes.
He didn't invite me.
Congratulations.
You are part of the organizing party. You are part of the organizing team. And you want invitation on top.
After we organized, he didn't invite me.
You see, yeah.
Okay, joining us also on Zoom this morning, Samson Wolanyo Deklu. Samson Wolanyo Deklu is the technical lead for Built Environment and at the Bureau of Public Safety. Mr. Deklu, thank you for joining us. Good morning.
Thank you too. Good morning to yourself and your studio guest as well.
Okay, I want to start with you, Mr. Deklu, and listening to the Ghana Maritime Authority boss speak about the state of inland transport. I mean, is it fair to simply say that as it stands now, it's basically unsafe to move on via our inland transport as we have it due to the current state of affairs, simply?
Okay, thank you very much, and good morning to yourself and the studio host and the viewers as well, and those who are also listening via other mediums. I mean, at this moment, we would just want to commiserate with the family who have lost their loved ones. And I mean, listening to the Director General, it is obvious that probably we seem a bit more helpless as a country when it comes to inland water transport. I mean, he has also explained a lot of things that are being done to safeguard the lives of individuals who use these systems. But I mean, it's fair to say that I mean there are a lot of things that we are probably not being able to implement or put in place to ensure that lives on these waters are very safe for people who use it. I mean, he made mention of a very key item on his enumeration, that overloading and lack of safety, where people who use these inland water transport systems are not able to adhere to, and the fact that there's even a lack of certification for these young people, so to speak, minors, who man these boats. I mean, probably I've used this boat on a number of times on these waters, and like you said, I mean, in most cases, it's young people, 11, 10, 12 years, who are even without life jackets, and sometimes very few people on the boat are really having the life jackets on just to safeguard anything. So as it stands now, a lot needs to be done for us to be very certain that traveling on these waters will be safe. But as it stands now, it is just not safe for anyone trying to use this inland water transport system.
And I mean, is it fair to say that it's the nature of the transport system that potentially accounts for this? Because unlike roads, in terms of road transport, where and even aviation, where basically we are more or less using specified routes, with the exception of just some few road in the hinterland areas that are being used. It's a bit more easier. In this particular case, I used one such boat in the Adan area, and we had to basically drive into someone's house where we parked the car. We exited the house through the back gate, and there was just one canoe there. It's not that it was a particular designated loading bay. It was just the fact that the land type over there was comfortable to be used. So the canoe was there, just one, and we just boarded it and we went across. Is that what you think is accounting for this? And how does the enormity of that as a challenge make it, some would say, practically impossible for this to be addressed?
Okay, then once again, I mean, it looks like we've not really given a lot of attention when it comes to this probably settlement that live along the water lake and how they actually ply or use this water as a means of transport. Because like you rightly said, you had to go and park in somebody's compound and walk through some alley to be able to even access a boat, which probably, if you are lucky, you might get a life jacket on. I mean, if you are not, I mean, you are just left to your fate. And you travel on this water, not just for a minute or two, but sometimes longer. So it is probably the way we've not seen the urgency of individuals who use the water body, unlike road and air. I mean, we've given a lot of attention to it. So a lot of law enforcement are on there. Even our roads, even though we always say that it is not safe, I mean, it's way better compared to what we are seeing when it comes to inland water transport. It seems a lot of attention is not going there, probably because a lot of us are not able to probably use these systems. But then again, I mean, like the Director General said rightly, a lot of work needs to be done to be able to ensure that we are safe. I mean, imagine it is something we do on a daily basis, like prominent individuals are traveling with these boats. We can understand what measures we would have been taking to ensure that it is safe for everyone to be on it. But as it stands now, a lot of work needs to be done, and we are not giving attention to it. Probably maybe because it is a less known means of transport for us as Ghanaians. Because in other jurisdictions where it is a major means of transport, I mean, you will get a lot of enforcement as it will be done whether on road or in the air and stuff. I mean, when we go to our ports, where it's a major means of probably bringing goods and other things. We see how the laws are being enforced at those areas. Why can't we do the same for these transports in our inland water bodies?
I see. Samson, I'll have you hold the line and let me come to my guest in the studio. And let me indicate that joining us in the studio as well is Kete-Krachi Rashid. He's the CEO of GIFEC. Thank you for joining us as always. And let me start with Doc across me at this point in time. And Doc, I mean, this is an unfortunate incident that has happened, but I mean, and I'm sure if you're familiar with water transports, I mean, this has been long in coming, especially because of how we manage that sector generally.
Yeah. This is tragic. You know, it's. I read yesterday that the boat was being operated by an 11-year-old, you know, who has lost his life. It's a national tragedy, and it must be a wake-up call for all of us to do something positive in that direction. I believe that at this point, we should, as a country, decide that we are not going to have any more such incidents. And for me, this means that in the short term, I think that I don't know whether the Ghana Navy or we need to seize control, you know, of water transportation in the country. I am thinking in the short term, in the long term. In the long term, something akin to the STC, you know, an inland transportation system, and that would be a way for government or the Maritime Authority to seed that sector. And then we can then begin to license private sector individuals to get into inland water transportation. As it is now, it is free for all. I recall my experience on a boat in a boat in Elmina. You know, as a Boy Scout from Vanspen School, and we kind of collided with another boat. It was frightening. It was frightening.
Were you guys in life jackets?
No, I mean, you know, we were, you know, it was frightening, and it's an experience that I don't want to visit again, and so I think that it's about time that we seize control. In the short term, I think that we should deploy the Ghana Navy or, you know, some kind of water policing is important to seize control of the system while we begin with things like licensing of boats. You know, we have to have specification. Those canoes, all you need is a torrential rain or something, and things will go haywire. So I believe that there's a wake-up call. In the short term, I think that we need to deploy a Ghana Navy. This is a situation that needs to be dealt with. We've had too many of these accidents, and we should say as a nation that no more. We are not going to do this anymore. Yeah.
Let me come to Nana now, and Nana, we've itemized some of the incidents that have happened, and we've done a summary. And if you look at the main contributing factors, is overloading, weather hazards, lack of safety gear, weak regulation and enforcement, infrastructure gaps in terms of limited ferry services, poor rescue systems, and children and vulnerable passengers often forming the majority of the victims. I mean, what's your own assessment, appreciation, and understanding of what has transpired so far, and how do we approach it just to ensure that we don't get back to this again?
Thank you very much. It's unfortunate that this had happened, and the most unfortunate aspect of it all is that majority of the people that perished are children between the ages of 2 to 14. I think it's so sad to have these innocent children lose their lives. But when the news had come out and I was trying to look through it, then I came across a write-up that had indicated that in the past 2 years, we've had about 11 of these accidents. I stand to be corrected. We've had about 11 of these accidents. And when you have just done the pick and picks of it, just as your team has indicated, we have about a few elements that are always popping up as the causes of these accidents. But the major ones is the safety issue. And when you are breaking the safety issue into about 3 or so, you would have the unavailability of life jackets, you would have the monitoring and supervision, and I termed it as the inspectories of our watercrafts, that is the canoes and the boats that we used. And one thing we should come to an understanding is that this inland water transport system has come to stay. You understand me? We all patronize it. I mean, last year I was on it twice. You know, when we had to cross from the OT region to the northern part of Ghana, and having to drive all the way, the best and the easiest was just to go on to the water. I've forgotten the name of the vessel. It has a name. And then we just go. It's easier using it. And being on it, one thing I realized was that none of us was in a life jacket. None of us was in a life jacket. So I asked myself a question. What happens if it decides to go down? What I also noticed was that the gentleman who was giving out the tickets basically was just, he had no idea, and I'm being emphatic, he had no idea the number of persons he had to load. They will only tell you that we can take 4 cars, 5 cars, and 10 human beings. But are they aware of the weights of the vehicles? Are they aware of the weights of the human beings? And I used yesterday on another platform, I used an example. I said, if you go into an elevator and it says that 13 persons, it gives you the weight.
The weight, yeah.
Now, when they say 13 persons, and with the Dr. Mesro, you have myself and lawyer as part of the 13 persons. The 13 will be reduced by a number because looking at our weight. But with the elevator like this, it will not move because of the sensors. But when it comes to the boats and the canoes, they will definitely move. It is when you have gotten to a point that you would realize that you have overloaded. Okay, so we ought to be able to put in regulatory measures. And the regulatory regime is something that we need to work on whilst we have people to enforce it. Maritime, I was reading about the Maritime Authority and their Act 630. I realized that it's more administrative, and their concentration is not on the inland water transport. The concentration is more on the high seas and the shipping. All right, but the inland water transport system is part of their work, because if you read their mission, it talks about the fact that they are supposed to ensure safety. All right? They are supposed to ensure safety. They did not say safety on seas. It says on the marine environment. And when you have read about the marine environment, it includes these communities that have that are surrounded by water, or what we call the inland communities. But I mean, from where they sit, their concentration is different, their focus is different. So once the inland water transport system has come to stay, once we have inland communities, it will be appropriate that probably there would be another institution that will solely be responsible for these inland communities. The other one is that, Blay, we need to be able to push for community engagement and education. These inland communities that are surrounded by water should have some level of education when it comes to living around water bodies. If you go to other jurisdictions, I know for a fact that even before you are given the opportunity to stay around a water body, you should have some basic knowledge about how water operates, and you should have some basic knowledge on water safety and how to swim. Do we have that here? No. We find people building around water bodies, and because that is their community, but they have basically no idea of even how to call for safety when the water goes haywire. In other jurisdictions, you would have something like the sheriff or the community police that is responsible for water safety just across in all of those communities. But in Ghana here, I do not think we do. There are these places that are surrounded by water that you will not even find anybody, no Navy personnel, nothing. It's one of the communities I read that has a naval detachment that is permanent there. But at the end of the day, there are more than one communities that are surrounded by water. We are supposed to have people there to guide them. You understand? You cannot control everybody at the same time, but once you have somebody who is responsible for taking care of these persons, I think we would be moving on. The other aspect of it is the poor enforcement of the already existing regulations. There are some regulations already, but how are they being enforced? I asked myself when I was driving here, I said that, do they even inspect these watercraft? Do we have engineers who go around to inspect them? Because you see, if you are operating a transport business, like the bus systems we have, the VIPs and the STCs, they go for maintenance periodically. Do we have something like that? Because if you go for maintenance and you have to go and renew your roadworthy, all right, and you don't even want to go for maintenance, you are forced to do so because you would have to renew your roadworthy. Are we having that system with the inland water transport? No, but yet they operate. Yet we have district assemblies that go to them to take tax. They pay. You understand? We have people who seemingly supervise these activities. They go there to look at what they are doing, seemingly. But yet, they do not even go for inspections as to whether it is worthy to be on the waters or not. These people who operate them, do we even train them? And when the gentleman was talking, he made an example. He says that when it is a car, it either might not move or something. See, the private person who is operating the canoe needs money. That gentleman who is also late to get onto the other side wants to go.
Get across here.
And so when it is even full, he would force himself. And because I'm a private man and I need money, I would accept his money and put him on board. But if there were strict measures or strict enforcement of the regulations that are already existing, we will not get to that point.
Okay.
You understand? So I think that it is a collective responsibility. Let us come together on a round table and have a national discourse on it. That transport system has come to stay. So we need to put in the proper regulations. We need to put in the proper measures. How much is a life jacket? Yesterday, before we got onto another platform to discuss this issue, I tried to check, and a life jacket was less than $48, depending on the type of life jacket you want. If the district assemblies are interested, they can get these life jackets in and out. In other jurisdictions, when you have used their water system, before you get on board, they give you a life jacket. When you get to your destination, you leave the life jacket there. The next person coming from that end would also use it to the other side. You ensure that there is always available life jackets.
Okay.
Corporate Ghana can help.
Okay.
You know, we started something on that platform yesterday. Corporate Ghana can help. It is not every time that we put our monies in advertisement and we put our monies in entertainment. Okay. These are lives that are being lost. We might not see the impact of it today because those folks are in the rural communities. But they all contribute to the economical growth of this country. These are fishing communities. These are farming communities. You understand me? They're little they contribute. Their lives are so important. And so we can also, as a people, contribute to the availability of life jackets in these communities.
Okay.
I mean, Tanku's organization, the corporate social responsibility. You understand me? Corporate social responsibility. One is less than $40. Yeah, if you can just check.
No, I've checked. It's between there's 150 cedis for basic ones, 250 cedis. There's some 400. Then there are the expensive ones from the.
No, those ones are the ones they use for the seas and other things.
So
but there are ones that are multi-purpose.
Yes,
that is
yes.
within
So
400 Ghana cedis.
So between 150.
The 150 are for the kids. The life-saving ones for children floating something. You know. So let's get interested.
Okay.
Because as for those. The what I call the IWT, the inland water transport, it has come to stay whether we like it or not. We need to push it.
Let me come to Mr. Rashid Tanko on this issue here, and there's also a human attitude aspect of it, and I say so because when I went to the Adan area, and I'm sure you are familiar, you go around the country to tell these people who use this form of transport to vote for your party. There was an instance where there were life jackets on the boats, but the people he was distributing them, but they refused to wear them. That's an aspect of the conversation too.
Blay, let me say good morning to you and my co-panelist, Doc, and then my good brother here. And then a good morning to the good people of Bimbilla constituency. I'm from Bimbilla. It's a very nice place. I invite all of you to visit. It's a very nice, you will love it. Bimbilla is a nice place.
We are keeping our eye on.
Oh yeah, yes. I mean,
you
have to visit there. I invite you. You see, I'm from a rural area, and like my brother said, this inland water travel thing was part and parcel of us. Some of us sometimes you don't even use the boat; you just jump into the water and hold your this thing, your footwear, and then you across. You see, it was part and parcel of us. We didn't see it to be any problem at all. But along the line, you see, as civilizations come in, and then these new boats with engines and all that started coming in, then we started getting all these kind of difficulties and all that. And I'm happy you are taking it from that direction of human nature. Government has provided a lot of this life jackets to some of these communities. I remember in our first time under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, from 2013 to 2016, a lot of life jackets were distributed in communities. At that time, I was operating up north, and I remember vividly the number of life jackets that were distributed through the initiative of NADMO and all that to support these processes. So, and to reduce a lot of this boat disaster, especially around Kumbungu area and then Yape and all those areas. They have a lot of inland water bodies that they cross over. And then this year, I know what the NADMO people too are doing. That is where we need to strengthen the supervisory rule of NADMO on that aspect. They need to sit up on that aspect. I think they need to position, in collaboration with Interior Ministry, they need to position officials around those areas to make sure that these people, not that they are not there, these these injectors, they are there. They have them. But you see, like I said, we in the rural area, we don't see it, we don't fancy wearing those things. Because we see these things to be like just a border. But education, like my brother is saying, is very key. We need to continue to educate our people, talk to them, let them understand that there is a need for you to wear your life jacket and all that. It is only when we get to a point where we all know that the safety of the boat and then the structure, everything is key or is in tandem with what we are doing, then we can decide not to wear the life jacket. For instance, when we travel outside, we go and enter these cruise boats without wearing life jackets, and they will cruise around there. I entered one in Japan and China, Shanghai. They didn't even bother. Nobody, all the tourists who came around there, nobody wore this life jacket thing. We're all in there because we are satisfied with the safety measures put in place. And you're looking at the cruise ship and all that, you are certified that nothing of that sort will happen. But this one is an open-ended boat with sometimes with a faulty even engine, and then you have a young person. I'm told some 11-year-old chap who was paddling or driving the boat. Can you imagine? That is how people can risk their life. You put your life in the hands of an 11-year chap to carry you across. And I'm sure there were elderly people who also among those who died. And they were looking at that young man carrying them across this thing. And they didn't see anything wrong there. That's why I'm saying in the rural areas, normally we don't see this thing. And because we have trained, and it's a trade that we've taken over from our fathers and then grandfathers, you don't see it to be anything wrong if you get there. And Dr. Vidal mentioned the Elmina does this. If you go there, you see the young, even as low as 5-10 years, they are in the place. They are learning the trade. Yes. It's part and parcel of them. Okay, so for them, they don't see anything. They will even say maybe it's a natural disaster. That's how they will look at it. Or maybe the gods are angry and they need to pacify the gods. They don't look at the other aspect of it, that maybe it's the fault of the boat, the engine has a problem, or the weather, they didn't read the weather well before cruising on that path. These are the things we need to educate. And I strongly believe under this administration, we want to protect everybody's life. We want everybody to be live and kicking, to make sure that they enjoy the benefit of what His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is bringing out. Because for a very long time, since 1992, we've never seen this type of governance structure that we have now. People are enjoying this. So we don't want people to die while others are enjoying. So we'll make sure that NADMO will up their game. NADMO will continue to monitor the situation. And you see, implementation is key. And like you said, the district assemblies, I'm happy all of them are here. The DCs are here. They are undergoing some training, orientation. And they are aware of this. NADMO is also coming in to talk to them about how they can take care of, do some of these things. Because they take the tariffs from them. They take taxes from these people. Like he said, if you go to the riverside, you see a district assembly officer there with some, they say lampu, small lampu, they tear it for them and the people pay. And so if you are doing this, you also should be mindful that you take lampu from live people. You don't take lampu from dead people. Okay? And so they should enforce that aspect of them wearing the life jacket. They have them. The assemblies, they have them. If you go, they have them. I remember very well. We distributed a lot of them, and they keep them there. When you go and ask them to bring in even in the communities. I remember there was one, they said around Ada, so some students also fell through like that. Yes. They went and distributed a lot of life jackets to the community. But as they don't even use it. Because for us, we don't see it to be anything. I'm coming from the rural Stokes, and I know, I remember in the 70s and 80s, that was one of our games, to go and swim across who is faster to swim across. Now you are using boats and other things. Where you're using it raw like that, you just go and cross. And you didn't see anything, but now the situation have changed. And then they need to educate our people and all that. And I strongly believe NADMO will sit up and make sure that this is, and thankfully, our brother who is taking care of NADMO, the Director General, is a former army officer. He knows much about these things. And he's from,
officer.
yes, he's from that area. It's down to earth. He understood this thing very well. And I'm sure it's like a reawakening to him to make sure that we protect our citizens from this needless death. Okay. It's completely, in fact, it's a national tragedy. When I saw it, I felt bad. I felt bad that we have to lose these lives through this needless death. It doesn't make sense.
Let me go back over to Zoom. And Mr. Deklu, I want us to now focus on solutions. We've touched on some of them around the table, but let's be more direct, particularly in the short term. And that is always important because in the means of transportation, as we are talking this morning, there are children who are using the canoes, the boats, and they are going to schools. I mean, in the short term, what should be done? And also, what should we be thinking about in the long term? We know that key government officials, including the Vice President, we understand, are heading there this morning to assess the situation.
Okay, thank you very much. I believe a lot of discussion has gone on already on what is being done in the short and immediate term. I just want to re-echo some of them. I mean, the short and immediate term, we probably have to enforce more of the public safety campaign in terms of what people need to ensure that is done. Like was said, we need to ensure that everybody who is going to use these boats have life jackets. I mean, even if it means going on a free life jacket distribution campaign for these communities, it is important, and there should be mandatory measures for them to use it as well. We need to also have a rapid enforcement. I mean, the Ghana Maritime Authority and the Marine Police and the Navy are already doing a good job and trying to ensure that once these things happen, they are out there ensuring the enforcement of the laws, and also probably ban the underage operators. Yes, I want to agree that it is part of us, and it's a trade that we pick up probably along the riverside. Young people pick it up from their fathers and stuff. But we need to also look at how we've come as a people when these inland travels have become part and parcel of us. So in the immediate and the short term, some of these things needs to be looked at. Then in the long term, and some probably structural reforms that we can probably look at, if we can be able to start looking at investing in probably safe alternatives, whether it is the issue of regulated ferry services, so that people who are traveling on these ferries, maybe the government will have to start looking at investing in some low-cost ferries that will be able to ply these. Also, probably look at emergency response upgrade in terms of resourcing or probably tooling the Maritime Authority to ensure that their safety response along the lake and in terms of emergencies are probably upgraded. And also look at probably stronger legal and institutional accountability, so that I mean, like we see on our roads when there are serious issues, even air travel, when there are serious accidents, people are held responsible because people have been given the money to ensure that your travel in the air is safe. So we can be looking at some of these in the short and long term to ensure that lives are protected. I mean, even this morning, even after all this, there's still some people traveling on the lake without life jacket. There is still a 10-year-old, a 9-year-old who is handling a boat to transport people from one point of the river to the other. So these are just some of the few things that I'll put across that we can look at as a people to be able to safeguard on lives of those who also use some of these systems on a daily basis. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Samson. Let me come to Doc now. Doc, how should we proceed at this point?
I believe that we should have a national water transport company of some sort, to seed the sector. Something like the state transport company that we have, I also think that if I had my way, we should ban canoes. Those small dugout, canoes should be banned. I think immediately we should do an assessment of the situation and perhaps send the Navy to areas where we think, I'm sure there are some areas where people's lives are in danger, on a daily basis. And I think that, in the short term, the Navy should help us out, while we look at boats, for example, that are fit for purpose. We need a licensing regime for boats. We need regulations. Operators need to be trained and licensed properly. And I think that generally people who live in those areas need education, so awareness creation is important. And so I think that, again, as I said before, this should be a wake-up call for us to do things differently. The same way we police our roads and we have MTTU and all that, we need to have pay attention to water transportation, on the Volta and and other inland water bodies, And I think that I didn't have a time to, I didn't take a look at the maritime, the act. I haven't seen it, but I'm sure that I think Nana was saying that it's not really fit for purpose. We probably need to look at, something that broadly covers inland water bodies, and make sure that we have a regulatory framework so that we can save lives.
That's good. In fact, when you look at the Act in terms of when it's defining what a watercraft is, it excludes canoes out of
Yes,
it. And
but
so,
in its real definition of what watercraft is, includes canoes.
yes, but it appears
But
in the regulation they were trying to
they avoided the canoes and
Well,
the boats.
I believe we should ban them.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
These small canoes with the pole.
And then the olden type is.
you don't seem to agree on that point.
It's unfortunate. We can't ban them. Why? Because you see, you are able to afford to go on. Yes, yeah, yacht, no. And I'm more friendly.
Make a yacht.
That is ours. What we can do is to ensure that they are properly maintained, and that if you are not up to a certain age, as you were talking about, the licensing regime need to be looked at, and then the Transport Ministry and the Maritime Authority and the Ministry of Tourism should be able to attract private investors in the inland water transport system, so that we would have better boats. You understand? If you go to other jurisdictions, they even have taxis on these water bodies. They have Ubers on these water bodies that you can just sit, order an Uber, and it comes and it's a small boat. You are on it and you go. So we should attract, because there is so much there. The people are increasing in number. You understand? The people are increasing in number. Growing up, I had never anticipated in my life that I would travel to the Uti region and would want to go and use what was the name? Duilma. Pantu. I never anticipated that I would go and use it. I still have pictures. And so yesterday when it happened, when I heard the news, I was looking at it, I said, hey, so if it had been me, go, if you be quiet.
I crossed the voter lake at midnight before. Yeah, I mean, about 11 of us, no life jacket.
When we got there, let me tell you this funny thing. When we got there during the campaign, then we all had to go on the Pantu. The security guys and everybody involved came around and we said, we will not allow Alan to go on it. We have to protect our asset. We need to protect the lead. And we're like, but at this time he has to go on it. We're like, we're not so sure. So he had to drive. And the distance, we actually got to our destination before he did. But we were not sure of the safety nature of the Pantu. So we couldn't have allowed the security people call something an asset to be on the Pantu. You get me? So we need to attract investment in that area. And once we are able to do, we would have some of these small boats that will be operating even as taxis. Because people cross it on daily basis. People cross it on daily basis. Every minute you will find people gathering to cross. So it's just like we are operating the bus business we have. Some time back, it was difficult to get a bus from probably the north to the south. It was difficult. If you miss your bus in Kumasi going to Takoradi, you might not get any again. But today, it is not like that. Every minute, there is a bus moving. Why? Because of the private sector investment. We should be able to attract these investments in this area. But after the banning of the canoes, the people would not agree. They will not agree because, see, that is their means of transport. What we can do is to help them improve on their means of transport. They use it also for fishing. Let's not forget, it is not only for the transport business. They use it for fishing. So if you ban the use of it, then what happens to their fishing activities? I do not control. And sorry, just quick one. The distribution of the life jacket. If you go and give the life jackets to individuals in the community, when the person is coming to use the boat, he or she may forget. There should be a system where they have a place they keep them. Once you are getting the ticket to go onto the boat, all right, the operator ensures that you go into that room to get your life jacket to wear. And this happens in other jurisdictions. You will go, you get your ticket. Once you order the Uber that is on the taxi that is on the water body, before you climb onto it, the person hands over a life jacket to you. You wear it before you get on. And so if we have a small container somewhere being mounted by somebody, the district assemblies deposit the life jackets there. Before you get onto the boat, you wear it. And once you see our because of our orientation, when we say we don't calculate children as part of the weight. Let's be real. We don't calculate children as part of the weight.
In fact, in all the incidents we've had, you see that
the number of children are always more.
Yeah, I mean, quite clearly.
And that's where I'm coming from.
I think
so.
You
find a mother who has twins or triplets or a small boy and a sister. They would calculate probably the 14, 15-year-old boy as weight. But those little ones, they don't calculate them as part of the weight. And that is something that we need to deal with. Because you can't go onto into a car or a plane and they will not calculate that child as part of the weight. They will definitely calculate it. But what we have here, now, you understand me? So we need to be able to arrange our people on some of these things.
When I talk about banning,
yes, sir.
This small boat with a long pole. Come on. I think we can.
Some of them, when they are even moving, they'll be fetching the water out of it.
We can do better than that. I mean, at the minimum, look, the same way along our coast, fishermen are now using what do you call those? They use the engines. Yes. We can do better. We can do better.
Outboard motors, yeah.
Yeah, we can do better. We can provide outboard motors. Something. This very crude method needs to stop, and I think we need to stop it. you know, and it calls for some action. You know, I think we should start with stopping the use of those small canoes.
Okay.
You know, it is dangerous. You know.
You want to make a point here?
Doc, it will take time for such a drastic measure, because looking at where we are coming as a country, you know, if you take the rural communities where I operate a lot from, you realize that we need a lot to do. If we are comparing that to our urban areas, we might be dreaming, especially the underserved and the unserved communities. You see, their lives still depend on those smaller boats, these canoes and all that, what they used to cross those areas. So for me, I don't think for now is the right path to ban it. Banning is not the right thing. The only thing is the education, safety measures. We make sure that NADMO up their game, Maritime Authority, both they collaborate and up their game, try to educate them, even how to use the smaller ones, the weight load and all that. I am saying that those days, you know, those small canoes with that long pole, we put motorbike on it. I mean, Jelkwan, crossing over to Togo, Senkansi area. We're doing smuggle over there. Okay, I didn't say. I want to polish it nicely across those days. That was the 70s, the early 80s. Actually, across those days, we used to those ones, and you didn't have those disasters happening. And so that's why I'm saying that it's just the regulation, how to manage it, manage those things, and then educate them how to use it. And I'll go on the route of this life jacket, like what you are saying. Let's provide them, the operators. You see, I think, well, Ghana, as of now, things are getting better. And I'm sure the NADMO Director General is listening. He's a very active man. You know, he's from that area. He's from OT region, a former military man who understood this game very well. He will do something about it. They will definitely do something about it, so that to make sure that we get more life jackets. I've just, one of the NADMO director told me that, yes, it's true, it's the life jackets they need. If they get it, I think they will curtail all this. They will make sure that they will force the people to wear the life jacket. Like my brother is saying, when you sit in there, you put it, even with that long one, if you put in the life jacket and there's anything, you can manage yourself out. And so that thing, we need to, the education need to continue. But Doc, I'll beg of you for now, if we think of banning it, the trouble will get in Ghana.
The responsibility on the part of the people as well, the people who are boarding them.
Yes, that is it. It's important. Like what I'm saying. For instance, if I get in there and I see that, for instance, this platoon that we're talking of, those days, we're entering, we didn't care whether you were wearing life jacket or not, because you were sure that the platoon was in order and order, even the one being used currently. The one that's crossing Dambaya and all that. I used it severally, the crossover. You hardly see anybody wearing life jacket in it. You feel fine because you have confidence that everything on it is fine. But you see, it is only when disaster strikes that you begin to see this thing. So it's reawakening. And I can assure you, I believe the leadership of NADMO, they will do something about it and make sure that more of the life jackets are procured and then distributed to these vantage areas where the people are always using these boats to cross over, because it has come to stay. And I believe time to come, even, look, if we develop our inner water bodies and all that, it's a tourist area. A lot of money. Yes. Tourism. Yes, it's a tourist attraction where people want to go, come enjoy themselves in the evening. Imagine doctors sending their family and all that to come down Odo River there, and then there's a nice cruise ship there with lighting and all that. In the evening, they cruise down there and cruise back around. Like, we enjoy it. It's a beautiful thing. Go to Dubai to do it. And that's what I'm saying. I saw it. I saw one in this thing, Osaka. I saw one in Shanghai, and it was so beautiful. And we are paying for this. Why can't we do it in Ghana? You see, and I believe we can do this thing. And with true leadership, thank God we have a better leader now as a president in Ghana. And I know with the support of everybody, we are going to get there. And this one is just a reawakening to leadership of NADMO and Maritime Authority. Interestingly, the Maritime Authority DG is also coming from a rural area. He's from Upper West region. And then so both of them will collaborate to make sure that these our rural folks will enjoy the fruit of crossing over these river bodies without any difficulties. And this is what we are pleading. And I know they are going to do it. I have confidence in them. Khalid, who is at Maritime Authority, he's your colleague, he's your senior. He's a lawyer. I have to congratulate you. You've done well. You are a fantastic young man.
Yes. You're not part of the organizing team.
I was out of the country. I came when I... Yes, so I'll take him up for some show. But you are not part. So.
but a quick one. Yeah. You are both lawyers. We have the Road Safety Authority. Mm-hmm. Are we able to have an inland water safety authority whose concentration and focus would just be on the safety of our inland water transport system, so that we do not have a divided attention? Their focus would be to ensure regulations on our water bodies. They would put out an enforcing men out there. We would have the community or inland water police, as part of them. Are we able to do that?
I think that Rashid probably can tell us. I think there is something in the manifesto on water transportation.
Yes.
Along the Volta.
Yes.
Yes.
And if
there's a whole development, and I think the president launched it not too long ago.
It is in there, and I think that to do it properly, we need to develop the regulatory framework.
Yes, we need to develop a regulatory so that they are responsible for it. So probably it's time you trigger that aspect of the manifesto, so that we are able to move it.
When I was a kid, I started school in Tamale.
Yeah.
And the going at EAG, with my father's car on that was very exciting.
Yes.
And I don't remember wearing any life jacket.
It was fun.
But
crossing over.
But that's a far cry from the canoes. The canoes, I'm so scared of. Since that incident, when I was a young boy, I don't, canoes,
I get your fear. I get your fear completely, because even to get on it, when you step on it, then it bubbles. Then the person who is manning it will tell you that, oh no, come, come. Then sometimes it's almost falling out. Even to get on board.
There's a video of, I don't know if it is
John Dumelo. Yes, they were doing a shoot. Yes.
Video on
Yes, I saw it.
It's scary. I think we need to do better. To have school children. I think about school children who have to sit in this on a daily basis to commute to school.
These communities, as we have the PE, I don't know if the physical education is still part of our curriculum as well. While I looked at it, we used to go learn how to play football, go learn how to play table tennis, and in other jurisdictions, as part of it, if you are living in an inland community, they have the swimming as part of it.
They do the swimming in some of the very good schools here in Accra. They do swimming.
So the Ghana education. No, I'm not. He's talking about swimming pools.
That's the one we are talking about.
I'm dealing with the fact that we have these communities and they have schools in these inland communities. All right. So Ghana Education Service could at least, as part of their physical education, where we have these sports and stuff as part of the extracurricular, add swimming to it, so that the basic knowledge is given to these children. Because, I believe if they did have some swimming skills, at least they would have been able to float on the surface of the water until some help come.
Right.
So we need to be able to push that also.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's do some messages as we bring the discussion to an end. Musa Batwa in Asawasi, you say, your deepest condolences to the families and loved ones of those who tragically lost their lives in the Kete-Krachi incident. This is a heartbreaking loss for the entire nation. The authorities must take full responsibility and put immediate measures in place to ensure such a devastating tragedy never happens again. May the souls of the departed rest in perfect peace, and may comfort find all those affected as well. And so that is it for this part of our discussion. We'll just do a brief take on what we are learning from the Ghana Water Company. Yesterday, we heard from one of the officials there talking about struggling to keep treatment plants in operation because of the state of our water bodies. I mean, we know that the president had an extensive discussion with the relevant stakeholders, the CSOs within the space, talking about illegal mining and all those matters. And he explained what the government was doing about it. I mean, we've all had our say after it. There are those who are saying that the next level, beyond the enforcement that we are seeing NIMOS doing now, in the last couple of weeks, many arrests across the country, lots of items that are being used by these illegal miners have been seized and destroyed. Those who have been charged are being charged. Prosecutions are also underway in full swing. But there is a part of the survival aspects. And then I remember some few weeks there was a whole back and forth about dechemicalization and all those things. But the conversation will have to take place about how we can restore the quality of our water bodies. And let me start with you, Doc. I mean, we are facing water shortage in some parts of the country because our treatment plants are not in operation. I mean, so far we are focusing on enforcement, alternate livelihoods, but we have to also pay attention to how we can deal with the state of our water bodies just to make them better, to enable the water company treat them very well for us.
No, Joseph, thinking about this issue, all I can come up with is the application of technology. We really need to up our game. The water company needs to look at different methods, because we are there. The water is polluted and we need water. Water is life. So we have to find a way, short of importing water into this country, we have to find a way to make sure that we can treat the water that we are getting from these water bodies. I think we need to look at technology and see what we can do. I'm sure that these treatment plants are, some of them are artifacts. I'm sure they are, they've been around for a long time. It may be time to look at new technology that can be introduced. I'm not an expert in those areas, but I think, while we are fighting the law enforcement side of this, we also need to look at how we're going to turn these chocolate-colored water bodies to water bodies that we can use to sustain us as humans. So I think technology is in my view, the answer. The water company needs to be resourced to be able to apply different. Yesterday I heard the one manager, chief manager of some sort, talking about that they've changed from the use of alum to another system. Maybe they need to up the game again and do something else, because we cannot give up. We have to, this shortage should not continue, because we need water. So technology needs to be applied, in a way to make sure we have, water for our everyday sustenance. Joseph, one thing yesterday I read that they've arrested some Chinese people. So there are still Chinese people around with all this noise about galamsey, the impunity. We still have Chinese people.
It's a big problem. Rashid, and there's a. I mean, I don't envy the finance minister at all. I mean, everything we discuss every time, you need money.
Money, yes.
If the minister even during the president's encounter, more than $1 billion needed to just fight the illegal mining, not even about the treatment of the water. Governments must really be in a tight corner in all aspects of our national life.
Well, this issue of galamsey, I can assure you, by next year, we'll be talking of different stories, not galamsey matter again. We will deal with the matter. I can assure you, government is doing something. In fact, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is serious about it. And that is why he warned, no appointee, if you are found interfering in the activities of these NIMOs or involved in these things, you will not be spared. And that's why, thankfully, almost 10 months in governance, you cannot pinpoint any government appointee involved in this business, unlike previous administration. The galamsey seat was in the Flagstaff House under Nana Akufo-Addo. That's where they were doing it, starting everything there. Here, you won't have it. It's not happening under this administration because eyes on it, and you can see the work the NIMO people are doing. They are doing fantastic. They are chasing the people down there and rest. You see, there are a lot of recalcitrant people in this country who would use every means to bring in these Chinese people they've arrested. They come in disguise. They are not coming as people who are coming to be in this galamsey thing. They disguise themselves in a different, as if they are coming for some business or other thing. Before you say Jack, they are out there. And so then they will continue to arrest them and will look for the kingpins who are bringing them. Some of the water bodies are now very good. They have now been very clean. But government is also doing something about the current one. Look, it is another aspect of which we must take our eye on is this sand winning. You know, the sand winning too is also creating a lot. Yes, I know what is happening up north, especially the water crisis in Tamale and all. That's a result of sand winning, which they are dealing with. Okay, government is trying to regulate that aspect because we cannot stop building. After construction, we'll continue to build houses and all that. And our brothers who are into the business of bringing us the sea sand and other things, they need to be regulated. And that is why government is doing something about it, to make sure that we regulate how to win the sand so that it doesn't affect the water bodies. Because as soon as they continue this thing, it will spoil the pump machines and all that. They will continue to replacing it. We cannot. Government will never ban sand winning. It's something that has come to stay. It's an age-old thing. Because we continue to build. Everybody needs houses to this construction business needs the sea sand, they need gravel and all that. But they need to be what? Regulated. And that is why we brought in the responsible mining. Unfortunately, during the launch, I lost my boss in the process. We were going to launch this responsible mining. That's how government is trying to fight this issue. And then so we should be thanking His Excellency John Dramani Mahama for taking the bull by the horn on this matter. This issue of galamsey that has come is something that was being in distraction for 8 damn good years under administration of Nana Akufo-Addo. And even to the extent when they were exiting, still the number of excavators they brought and dumped over there. If we hadn't stopped it, imagine all these excavators had moved into the system. We would have been a shit. I don't know what was their mentality for doing that. After destroying the forest cover and the water bodies, they were not satisfied. A new government was coming. They were still importing more excavators to come and unleash them on the new government. These are the kind of people. So fighting it, within 10 months, we have done your man's job. And we will need more time, and I can assure you, within the shortest possible time. That's why they're chasing. Yesterday, I was watching a footage. Somebody was trying to interfere. The way they dealt with him over there, dealt with the gentleman very well. That, look, we are not here for jokes. Because of your parochial interest, the whole country should be on its knees. Because you want to make money, sharp money, we should be on this. We are creating jobs for the young people so that they will leave this dangerous business. You know, just recently, some people died. I think one of this thing came on them. Yeah. Yes, it's a terrible business. Okay. Very dangerous. And so we are creating sustainable job for them, for the young people who are in those areas, so that they will live. I know most of them, they don't even like it. It's just the survival that they are into. So we'll create jobs and make sure that they leave these water bodies. Thankfully enough, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, under his watch, no license has been issued to anybody to go into forests or water bodies to mine since we came into office. Okay. That is a mark of leadership. Unlike some people were just giving it like trophies. They were just sharing it like trophies to them, and then they go and destroy this thing, and now we are now bedeviled with this problem. We now come to resolve it. And they are the same people who are sitting somewhere and making noise, holding press conference and telling, after destroying the whole thing, we are coming to resolve it, and they're doing press conference. They should allow the system to work. The system is working, the water will be clean pretty soon. Look, we will resolve it, and I can assure you, no, because nobody is now mining in the water bodies. You are not allowed to go near there. Most of the forest has been recovered, and they are now training people to see how best we can recover the lands against and green the area very well, because farming is good. Farming. You see, if we channel their efforts into farming. Look, I sit here, I have a farm. I have a very good farms around my community, Bimbila and Wulensi area. I have farms over there. As a young man, don't think that farming is for the ages, for our oldies. It's a very lucrative business, but people don't know. You go in there, there are a lot of goodies in the soil over there.
Okay.
Let's channel our efforts through that. Let's not destroy the forest because of these minerals that we are not stopping mining. Nobody is going to stop mining. Don't forget. That's what we are saying. We do what we call what? Responsible what? Mining.
Okay.
And that is why we are saying illegal mining will stop it. That one day also, galamsey will be a thing of the past very soon.
And then wrap up for me.
Yes. With the fight against galamsey, I stated that we would only come to appreciate what the government is doing, what the president and Emmanuel Ama Kofi-Boa, as the sector minister, are doing when our waters begin to turn blue and our forests begin to turn green. You understand? If we do not see that, in as much as they are working so hard, which I appreciate, I mean, I have stated on many platforms, even including TV3 here, that they have pushed so hard to ensure that they deal with the issues of galamsey, looking at the steps they have taken, synchronization of the task forces in the formation of NAMOS, the steps in what is the name, redrawing or the act,
The law that allowed the mining forest reserve, revoking it.
Yes, revoking the law. In the first place, that was the genesis of the bigger troubles we faced as a country. When we had passed an act to allow mining in our forest reserves. That was the genesis of our troubles. And it is for that matter, some of us say that the actual administration has no locus, they have no moral right to comment on the issues of galamsey, because you brought in a regulation that allowed the work of these galamseyers in a mass production. And so, if we would want these water bodies to be restored, we have stated a complete, at least, year ban on all small-scale mining activities. Lawyer, you get it. Let us ban these activities. Nobody goes to their lands, nobody goes to their concessions. Let us see what is happening. Let us start the activities of the land or the forest reclamation. Let us begin to fill these pits. Let us begin to grow these trees and plants for the next 1 year.
Okay.
Let us see if the water bodies in their natural form will not begin to be restored.
Okay.
I agree. We ought to be able to employ technology that would be able to help clean these water bodies. All right. But my fear when these aspects are talking is that in the employment or the application of these technologies, especially those that has to do with heavy chemicals, would we not be introducing other chemicals or metallic substances that would also be disadvantageous to us as a people, after these water bodies have been restored?
Okay.
Have we been able to weigh the merits and the demerits of it?
Okay.
You understand? But if we have allowed all activities around these places to cease for a year or two, I am not a technical expert. I do not have knowledge in it. But the little I know about natural bodies, water bodies, is that they themselves will begin to restore. Okay. They themselves will begin to clean up. Then we would appreciate what the president and the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources are doing. Okay. And the other thing that the lawyers and the human rights people are fighting, as some of us, about is the introduction of this shoot to kill thing. You see, lawyer, you are surprised to know or to find out that yesterday they arrested some Chinese people. Okay, if we had released some missiles from the air into these forest reserves, and we have had about 5 or 6 of them, their corpses being carried to their hometown to be buried, they would know we are serious. Because at this point, when you have gone to arrest them and you prosecute them, what happens? They serve a few years in jail, they come back to their assets, they come back to their money. You understand?
Okay.
Once we arrest them, as part of it, we seize their assets, we seize their money. But what is most important is, if they begin to, they are killing people.
Okay.
I see it more as a genocide than even an ecocide.
Okay.
You understand?
Right.
So if they are killing us, and mistakenly, the Air Force and the NAMOS people also fly over and mistakenly release a missile, and they go in a very calm and gentle way, they won't go into the forest reserves again.
All right. That would be too drastic. No, that would be too drastic. That would be too
I ask the
drastic.
question anytime somebody has posed that it is too drastic. I said, I can't eat contomere again. I can't get fish to eat
That's
again.
fine. That's fine. I mean, those are
Now,
very...
my brothers and my sisters in these galamsey affected areas are giving birth to children that are deformed.
yeah.
There was this pregnant woman, I think, around the Konongo area, who woke up in the morning to go ease herself and fell in a pit and died. Please, I ask, Blay, is she not a human being?
She is.
Was she not buried? Because of somebody's greediness, somebody's, I don't want to use the word. So at the end of the day, if we also fly over these forest reserves, and out of negligence, we also release a missile, and they go.
Anyways, that's all time. That's all time will allow us this morning on the missile notes by Nana Yasapo is political aide to Alan Kojo Chairman with the Movement for Change. He joined us this morning. The incoming political party, we are told we'll hear from them very soon.
Why are you rushing?
Sofo Tanko Rashid Computer is the CEO of GIFEC. Dr. Josiah Koba is a former principal lecturer at the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration. Samson Wolanyo Deklu also joined us. He's a technical lead for built environments for the Bureau of Public Safety. We'll take a quick break.